back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. Do you remember that Steam Machine Portable we talked about last week? Yeah, they noped it, and that cute little cosplay simulator you gifted your niece or nephew for Xmas? Well, it might contain 5 female romance options.
Valve lets you take your nipples for a stroll. You will get to keep your settings, though. And Rick Geldrich gives Unity the squeeze. Hey, at least he's not writing ill-informed blog posts no more.
Skullgirls, get some competition. There's another fighting game coming out for Linux. AMD just stops trying, having come to the realization that they can't drivers, brah. Finally, they've open sourced all the things.
Wow, that's a rough intro. I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, joined every week, with you, Shot Realm Dynamic, and all the way from Space LA, courtesy of France, Mahir
Commandant. It's not that hard. Come on.
Where's more to go?
Hi.
Pedro Montes. And together, every Saturday night, we form that little bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Not a whole lot this week that I'm not going to talk about in the show. I was trying to use the NV encode thing. Never could get it work, but this snarky bastard got it up and running on his first try.
Yeah, I got it compiled and everything, but when I tried to actually use it, got a bunch of issues with the audio sync and frame rates and everything, so I have to put a little bit more work in it. Hopefully I can get something.
And I've been swapping emails for something we can't exactly mention right now, but we will soon, I hope. Well, but yeah, that's basically been my week.
Definitely one thing we can always mention is the horse, because this week, well, he is in control and getting sued, because it's time for our Steam
Linux
update.
Train wreck of the week. Okay, let's talk about the Steam controller, because Steam controller December 15th beta update pretty much says what it does on the tin. They've plug in your Steam controller in their big picture mode and set a name for your controller. They are going to collect a little bit of data now. Isn't that right, P-Man?
Yes, they are. And they're also going to lock your Steam controller configuration. So if you have like a custom configuration, you can actually take your Steam controller with you to someone else's house. And if you plug it in, even if they have their own login with their Steam account, Steam will recognize, oh, it's this controller, so you're using those configs. All right. That's kind of awesome, actually.
I think it's a little bit of brilliant sauce, but, you know, some people have already got their tinfoil hats on and like, Steam spy on me. And I was like, so is your ISP, Brad. Strider, do you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, curious how it will work if you got 2 of these controllers plugged in at the same time. Might give it a try.
It recognizes
someday.
each controller individually because it actually records in the firmware which account it's set to, and it'll pull the configurations.
Oh,
that's why you can name them differently. Yeah.
And up next, ironically,
Liz sued.
Go for it.
Strider, tell us about it.
Okay, that's kind of famous in France association and UFC Que Choisir, and they're going after Steam for not letting users resell their games, because that's what there are laws in France and Europe in general that let users sell their games, but they are mostly hard copies of games, not dematerialized.
That's something I want to bring up, because I'm surprised, you know, I was thinking about that. I was like, why doesn't Valve, why do they disallow, you know, reselling of games, because they can get another cut of that? Then I remembered, that's right, because you're not purchasing games through mothering Valve. You're getting a license to play the damn game. That's it. And a lot of people just fail to wrap their brain organs around this business. However, everything else, those cheese-eating surrender monkeys said, seem legit, P-Man. I mean, wouldn't you like to be able to get your wet, stinky cash out if you got banned for fucking whole reason for the Steams?
Oh, yeah. But then again, if you manage to get yourself banned from Steam, you have bigger worries than just your game library and however many thousands of dollars were in there. But hey, you know what caught me off guard this week?
Nope, no idea.
Capcom.
What?
Capcom was basically...
Oh, shit.
Yep.
That happened.
Announcing SteamOS support for Street Fighter V. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that Street Fighter V will be officially supporting SteamOS. We are working closely with Valve on this endeavor, so we're getting 2GL semi-rapper port, basically. And we'll have more details to announce in the near future, so stay tuned for updates. Street Fighter V will also support the Steam controller. I mean, you're working with Valve at that point. You'd expect it to. And you'll be able to play that out right away during the upcoming beta test that takes place from December 18th to 20th. So it will be taking place during the time of recording.
Well, you got to look at the wording here on Brad, because I was like, do I want to pre-order? Then I was looking at the wording. It will also support the Steam controller, and you'll be able to try that out right away.
Yes.
It doesn't clearly say that you'll be able to try out the Linux beta, but don't fucking pre-order anything. I don't know. Part of me was just like, oh, it's finally fucking happening, Ron Paul JPEG and all that business. But, straight up look of disapproval when I was like checking out the price on Brad. 29 wet stinky caches for a game that ships with 29.99 wet stinkies worth of DLC, which is basically like on characters and shit like that. And I'm like,
Yep.
Oh, I don't know. Are you going to pick this up?
$30.
Maybe on sale,
skins.
but I will wait a bit. First that comes out, and then the price comes down a bit. I already have the Street Fighter 4, so can wait a little bit. But that's what's great is that we're seeing the benefits of using Unreal Engine 4. Like we get those games ported really quick now.
Yeah.
Well,
And yes, it is worth mentioning that this will be an Unreal Engine 4 game.
but I mean, there's a couple of things you got to think about on Unreal Engine 4, because being open source and being good guy Epic, every time they do a release, it's like, oh, and here's a list of all the user submitted patches and bug fixes, and I'm pretty sure Steam's going to go, here, put all this extra stuff in, make it really easy to click export and actually run. But
Yep.
coming up.
So it's this again. Yes, it's the Counter-Strike Global Offensive R8 Revolver update thingy. It's the gift that keeps on giving for Valve, and it keeps on giving them lots and lots of headaches. Because not only have they gone back and de-nerfed everything, because when they introduced the R8, then 2 days later they had to nerf the R8 because it was too powerful. They also made rifles more inaccurate, and they made pistols deal slightly less damage and be slightly more inaccurate. Now they've gone like, yeah, we might have changed a little too much, a little too fast. So they de-nerfed everything. Everything's back the way it used to, with the R8 still nerfed included. And the biggest issue when I posted this link in the notes was that the Linux version of Counter-Strike Global Offensive would actually segfault core dump within 5 minutes of game time. You went into the game, it would just nope itself. Now, today, a couple hours before we started recording, they've actually sort of fixed that. It was like a 6 megabyte update. So they uncocked whatever they cocked up in the first place, so I guess that's good.
I don't know, especially with CSGO. I mean, it's a brilliant game. I know there's a huge community, and I automatically noped the game. I picked it up when it was on sale for like $20 or whatever, way back in the day. And I tried it, and I was like, wow, these are the type of people who play 23 hours a day in this fucking game, and immediately closed it. But then again, break out your popcorn, go over to CS Global Offensive on the Reddits, and read all the, oh my God, I'm going to quit the game again. I'm for real this time, guys. Strider, do you ever play CSGO? Is that your thing?
No, I used to play CS and CS Source a little bit, but I was really bad at it. So I kind of want to grab it someday, but I have lots of other games to play. So
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to kill people with white flags, but let's talk about 7 Days to Die, the survival horde crafting game. Oh man, doesn't that sentence just make you want to die? Alpha 13 is here, and the team has been busting ass on Alpha 13, aka Apocalypse. There we go, new word. Release
Apocalypse?
I know, show title. I don't know. I mean, I tried this. They sent us copies billions of years ago in the future's past, and I can't really tell the difference. Now, what was it? The last update actually got it to where it would hit 30 to 40 FERPs per second on a 980 under Linux. Being a Unity title, that can be kind of impressive. But it looks slightly better, but the pop-in is ridiculously bad. I mean, it's like, boom, surprise tree. And I mean, you're less than like 3 meters away from it. Did you give it a go, P-Man?
Oh, yeah. I tried to give it a go anyways. Downloaded a game, started it up. Oh, it forgot every single one of my settings. Right, let's try it again. So I went in, tried to join a server. It started loading. I started to move around. It crashed. Out of memory exception. Okay. So let's try that again. Started it up again. Same deal. Out of memory exception. Okay, this motherfucker's got a memory leak, but at least they're on it. They actually have the little error box saying, yeah, it's got a memory leak. We caught it. So I guess we can give him credit for that.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to give him a little bit of credit because when this thing was released, zombie crafting survival horror was like, oh, that's a new thing. And
yeah,
here we are all those times later, and it doesn't. There's better alternatives. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, it's Rust with zombies. And I was like, no, Rust actually has caveman penises. Well, it did. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, silver lining and all that. But, yeah, I'm not looking forward to playing that when it ever does get released. Have you ever heard about it, Strider?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but it's an alpha, so I won't give it a try before it's released, actually.
Okay.
If it ever gets released. Because that's the thing about survival crafting games. They never get released.
Well, let's talk about seizures. I mean, Volvox.
Well, this one actually got released. And the dev, seriously, kudos on the dev. He got in touch with us through our contact form. And he respected the thing and sent us all the three of us, well, me, Van, and Jordan anyway, send us, the three of us, some keys. This is Volvox. He says that the triamoebas are unicellular rolling animals which populate the primordial soup. And the game is basically a puzzle game that you have to position each and every single one of those aforementioned triamoebas in a specific position. Now, this is... I played like the first 2 tiers of levels in this game, and it's one of those puzzle games that it doesn't become more difficult. It's basically, you know exactly what you need to do. It's just... I
would like to buy confusing as fucking all for
yes.
You know, when you first start up, it has like seizure sun up here in the corner. It's like, like doing that. I was like, whoa, triggered. But I played it for like 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? All right, maybe we'll play it later. But it is currently available. What is it? $7.99. Wet stinky caches. 8 reviews. It's positive. Yeah, Strider, you like triangles and particles and shit, right?
Yeah, it looks a little bit similar to World of Goo, but with triangles. So
yeah, but World of Goo was more dynamic. This one, with its hand-drawn aesthetics and everything else, it just looks very bland.
I don't know. I mean, it's not fugly. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it will probably get released in a Humble Bundle someday. So.
All right.
Well,
definitely one of our favorite genres here is hipster pixel graphics. And man, this brings it in spades. Tame Rumi or my, all right. It's a retro-style platform game in keeping with the best traditions of games of our childhood. Clearly typed by somebody who grew up with an N64. Puzzle platform.
Well, he says that you take control of Himari, the young female wizard traveling across various ages. Oh, so that's that little amount of pixels with the white hair and the very white face that you can't really tell where one ends and the other one begins. Yeah. Her name is Imari.
I mean, I don't want to slam. I mean, it looks competently done. I mean, if you're into like thinking that's how NES games look, and SNES games they didn't. And oh, hang on, what's it say?
It reminds me of Cave Story.
Did that say two-sided girl? What?
Two-sided girl, yes.
All right, bonus soda. But, I mean, it is priced to sell, currently 20% off, $3.99. But it has some interesting
Yes, it does, because it does not need a graphics adapter. All you need is Ubuntu running on a processor with 2 gigs of RAM and 5 megabytes of available hard drive.
Oh, no, son, you're wrong, because the recommended is no operating system or graphics card, which I assume is the penultimate way to play this masterpiece. I don't know. Maybe we'll play it if they send us a copy. It doesn't look bad. Yeah, I'm not putting judgment on it because I haven't played it yet. Strider?
It's hipster pixel.
Yeah, it looks well done and competent. I liked Cave Story, and this one has a similar graphics style, so maybe it's quite good as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ben, tell us all about your cosplay fetishes.
What? Okay. We're just going to set the stage for this because, you open Steam and you sort by release date every morning as one is off to do. I was like, oh, cosplay maker. And I was like, oh, that might be a neat little gift. Maybe I'll send that to one of my nieces. And I was just looking at it. And I was like, oh, it's a Flash dress-up game, probably made in Unity. Then I was like, oh, female protracted dating set. What? Apparently, it's kind of like a dress-up game, kind of like a scromping simulator, maybe, P-Man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can dress up your character, but apparently there are some romance options.
Uh-huh. They're definitely in there. In fact, there's 5 female romance options. I don't know. We're just going to be honest, that sounds like a bitching band name, but I could definitely see someone's like, oh, here, little Timmy or little Jenny or whatever. I got you this. And they're like, oh, my God. And there's nothing wrong with it being female. It could be 5 male romance options. That's not something you might want to give to a kid, maybe, he says.
Yeah, no. And I was looking at the sprites because, like Ven, I too wake up and the first thing I do is go to Steam, new releases. Oh, okay. Wait, those sprites look familiar. Yeah, it's the same sprites that every Android quote-unquote developer is using for quote-unquote hard work on their Android Play Store page. Those look very familiar.
Well, you probably already own this, Matthew, so tell us about it.
No, I don't own this, and I'm not sure I will ever.
You're just playing dress-up going, fuck me.
Yeah, I'd rather play it like in real life.
What he's saying is he plays this game in the front of the fucking mirror in real life, so it's brilliant. All right, what's coming up next, P-Baby?
Up next, we're going to have some news, and in true LGC tradition, yeah, you know what's coming. It's drivers and everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the news. And yes, you heard me earlier. We have some drivers to start us off with. Ven, tell us about it.
Oh my God, they finally fixed it. I'm sorry. We're talking about AMD drivers, not NVIDIA. ADM, yes.
AMD Radio.
ADM might be a thing, but the new Radeon Software Crimson Edition 512 proprietary Linux drivers, they're out. It supports all the things. That's definitely a thing if you accidentally picked up AMD card. But here's something I was reading in the notes. They clearly say It supports Linux kernel 2.6 or above up to 3.19. And in the same fucking sentence, distribution supported Ubuntu 15.10.
Doesn't that have
It runs a 4.2 kernel. Yeah.
4.2,
Yeah.
yes.
4.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. Oops.
AMD can't even be asked to update their own website.
But it does the Furry X, and I'm pretty sure you still need to install the GIMP help files in order to make everything run, but it'll run with your Red Hat Enterprise.
It's FGLRX. Of course you need the GIMP help files. Come on.
P-Man, have they finally updated their interface with the Crimson Z's?
No, they have not. But they have said something, because over the week before last, they were having a little conference, or as they call it, the Radeon Technology Group Sonoma Summit, over in Sonoma, California. They, they said that they were going to open source all the things. Yes, that's right. These news comes from PC Yeah, as usual, you can find the links in the show notes. Ryan Shroud was at the Sonoma Summit with all the AMD guys, and he's basically saying that they're going
solutions.
to open
Why are they
source.
talking about Skype? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, they're actually talking about NVIDIA on that one. Yeah, the AMD is trying to fight NVIDIA GameWorks, which doesn't work in Linux, by the way, by open sourcing everything and saying to the community, all right, you guys, if you guys think that you can actually do a better job than we can, that's not a very high standard you've set there, AMD. If you can do better than we do, here's the sauce. Make our drivers for us. And
I'm kind of interesting that you took it that way. I took it as like, fuck it, we give up.
That's the rationale behind it, yes. But I'm going to give AMD the benefit of the doubt here. And since they're open sourcing everything, that's good. That's very good. And if the community can get in and actually help them get their shit together, Summer, yeah.
I think it would definitely be a good thing, but I think even you said it in the notes. I was like, yeah, we're going to open source everything, guys. And they've been saying that as when I actually see this, I'm going to wait for AMD's GPU driver to actually show up in the kernel upstream before putting any stock in any of this bullshit. And I'm pretty sure NVIDIA is already sending out the first checks to developers not to implement this. I'm only kind of joking. Seriously, guys. But they have, 20% of the market share, and that's their own damn fault. It's not because, you're thinking, it's like, but it runs, my Furry X runs just fine on my Windows. It's comparable to, not under Linux, Brad. It absolutely doesn't. And their entire OpenGL stack sucks. So,
yeah, and it's not just under Linux that they're OpenGL stack, because they have a combined OpenGL stack between Linux and Windows. So any OpenGL game that has the misfortune of coming out for Windows, it's gonna run like ass.
Strider, it does seem that our friend Ryan Shroud over at PC Per thinks that DirectX 12, being the low-level API, it will have a far wider reach than Mantle or Vulkan.
Yeah, like what?
Windows Phone, baby, it's taken over the world.
Vulkan is going to be available for pretty much every device.
Everything.
So with DirectX 12, it's limited to Windows, Xbox,
and
that's
the
it.
Xbox One, yeah.
Yeah, Xbox One, and that's pretty much it. So they want this. They're saying that it will be much widely available. I doubt it. I mean, once we see Vulkan being used like in consoles like PS4,
That's the thing. Vulkan will be
the
powering
Nintendo,
not just
Wii U,
Android, but the PS4.
Android, iPhones, Linux.
Yep.
Everything.
The iPhone's probably going to run some version of Metal.
Yeah, maybe, but we might
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, but we're not necessarily worried about it. Come on, they announced Street Fighter for Linux, not Mac.
Yeah, Mac's not getting Street Fighter anytime soon. But you know what's pretty metal?
Well, no.
Then.
Something, we full disclaimer. That said, what we just said, everyone knows that watches this show that we're a bunch of NVIDIA-loving fanboys, and we would only, promote NVIDIA and just trash on AMD, right?
Monster Cameron, we will get back to you on
Speaking of that, NVIDIA, Summer, you need to get your shit together because this came on Linux_Gaming, and they were talking about this. Is something I played with last year. It's the NV encode, which apparently requires mood magic and or French descent in order to get fucking working. I played around with this, and I was like, okay. After an hour of doing it the Vin way, which is exactly the same way as doing it the wrong way, only faster, I broke down and dug up an actual install guide. And this was released
PDF,
November 2015.
motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bitches. And went through that and totally didn't fucking work. Hate to say that. I mean, it kind of fell apart because unless you have a particular pull of FFmpeg, you're not going to be able to get that patched. Well, you can make that patch work, but it fails a couple of chunks. Wasn't a huge fan of that. And yes, I was kind of doing a kid's glove approach because this is a production box, and I didn't want to start ripping things out. Be like, well, no show this week, guys, because I did that. Yes, I know it's already in the Arch repos, and you can just install it. That's brilliant. There's also a PPA of FFmpeg from 2014 that has this built in. Not really going to play with that, but I'm probably going to do a clean box install just to play around with it. That said, here's one of the differences, P-Man. Riddle me this. Because I was just talking about this, and I didn't think twice about it. I was like, oh yeah, lead guy in charge of Linux drivers for NVIDIA, Aaron. Hey, guy, what's up?
Yes.
Pinged him on
Mr.
the G.
Bladner himself.
Yeah. Just pinged him on G+. I was like, hey man, you give me a hand with this? He was like, yeah, fuck, I'll give you a hand with it. Let's take a look at it. And all that business, that's not going to... Would AMD Roy ever do that for you? Probably not.
Oh, no.
But no. Frenchie, you absolutely deserve a bite-sized Snickers for getting this nightmare fuel to work, but you've experienced some problems. Right?
Sort of working. I got it to compile correctly. It ran pretty much out of the box, but when I started using it, for X inputs, X11 grab, there's all sorts of issues with frame rates and audio sync. So it does compile when you just follow the tutorial, at least on Ubuntu 15.10. But it's not at a usable state right now. So
what were your issues?
But for encoding videos, like re-encoding existing videos, it's super fast. And like I just ran a benchmark, and with the regular codec, CPU based was 200 seconds, and with the GPU was 7 seconds.
GPU encoding is always going to be faster, but what were your actual issues?
Pedro, I mean, he's already said it like 3 damn times. I know he doesn't have subtitles enabled, but what he was trying to convey.
That was a joke, man.
All right. Well, that's definitely a thing, but called this.
I guess,
the SMACH Z, the handheld PC canceled. Funding canceled. The project was canceled. What is it? You never heard of it? Well, it was that portable, what was it? Steam machine?
The Steam Boy. The Steam Boy.
Well, I mean, it was originally called the Steam Boy. Then it was the SMACH Zero. Now it's the SMACH Z. Now it's just canceled. Something that was supposed to be shipped this year in 2015. That they were like, hey, let's do a Kickstarter of it. They had some problems with it, all right?
Oh, yes. Yes, they did. Because apparently people had issues with their campaign. It's like, not only did the pledges slow down over time, as is to be expected when it comes to crowdfunding campaigns, they literally stopped. So they were like, yeah, maybe we done cocked up. Maybe. So yeah, there was the issue with like the funding goal being a bit too high. There was the issue with the AMD system on a chip, which they didn't give any information about, and I'm guessing AMD is kind of trying to keep that under wraps because it's probably similar to the Jaguar APU that they're using for the Xbox One and the PS4. There was the fact that the prototype, they didn't have one. They only had an LCD, teeny tiny 1080p LCD screen running off of some random video source off camera that no one knew anything about.
Everyone, I'm not a grammar Nazi, but everybody expect to see SMACH Z working in an encapsulated prototype. And it's something we just can't offer right now. Even though this has been in development for 2 years, nobody could be asked to 3D print. They don't even have like an actual envelope to put this stuff in.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this will work. But it's just, like, of course it failed. You wanted to deliver OpenGL games on Linux with AMD hardware. And they're like, well, we need to further talk to AMD. I can visualize this discussion as it happened. The guys from SMACH Z, and they're like, we need you to improve your Linux drivers, AMD. And AMD saying, we have Linux drivers? What? I don't know, but, I'm kind of with you, P-Man. I know you don't think that, this was ever going to succeed, and I kind of agree with you. However, those 553 people that were backing this, they need to be rounded up and put down. I mean, we don't need that type of person reproducing.
I'm not going to say Monster Cameron backed that, but I'm totally betting Monster Cameron backed that.
Frenchie, are you disappointed that you're not going to get your SMACH Z?
Well, it's not really surprising given that they built the whole thing around AMD. So, yeah, maybe they're going to redo the whole project based on NVIDIA. That would be smart from them. But until then, I won't expect anything from happening with that sort of hardware.
Yeah, and when you're trying to kickstart a console of sorts, never forget what happened to the Ouya.
Well, I mean, at least when I saw that, I was like, yeah, they'll probably make a product. I mean, I could see like an Android-based gaming platform. It's stupid, but
yeah.
Like, all right, maybe some people will buy it.
But it was a $100 console.
Well, I mean,
why not?
Pedro, the people did buy it at thrift stores for like $1.
Yeah, so, basically for like $10.
Right, to put it in their collection of things they'll never use. But let's talk about things getting smaller. The future of data compression in Unity. You might remember Rick from such shitty blog post as the State of Linux Gaming. But still, he's not talking about Linux gaming here. He's going to be working on ensuring that Unity the games with the Unity, their memory footprints are as small as possible. A little bit of
7 Days to Die's guy would like to a word with him.
No, it's a memory leak, son. I mean, what are you going to do? Try to minimize the leak?
Yes.
I don't know. Have you played around with the Unity editor?
I tried installing it. I tried playing a little bit with it, but I didn't go very far. But yeah, I was disappointed that I didn't get the latest updates for Unity 5.2, I guess.
They just rolled that out today.
Yeah, they rolled that out today. I saw Levi's post on it, 5.3.
Yeah, I had a couple of issues, like I couldn't enter my password to get in the actual editor, so I had to switch to I don't remember, like FWM, or I don't know which one was it, to actually be able to log in. So that was fun.
Good times.
Right. Tell me about this, baby. OpenAge? Never heard of it.
Yes, OpenAge. So this is the free and open source engine re-implementation of Age of Empires 2.
Scython is like Python with a Lisp?
I have no idea.
You type
what Scython
Python
is.
code and compile them to see.
This was actually one of Jordan's stories. So, this is the open source re-implementation for Age of Empires 2, which I'll have to admit was the only...
We already like these guys. Read that.
Windows version? Let's see. None of us uses Windows, so a port is low priority. Nice. Really nice. But yeah, I have to admit, Age of Empires 2 was like the only real-time strategy game that I ever actually got into. Good on them.
J-Baby seems to think that they're going to get sued from Orbit.
Yeah, they might be, because Microsoft currently owns the rights to Age of Empires and basically all of the games in that series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, then again,
I'm not sure about that, because there's a bunch of open source re-implementation of game engines.
Yeah, and the only reason that Bethesda hasn't gone after OpenMW, it's because it's Bethesda. If it's not like actually taking money away from them, they don't give a damn. But Microsoft has been pretty litigious in the past.
I don't know, man. I mean, they have in the past, but now they're under the leadership of Sriracha Novella.
Satya Nadella.
That was intentional. And
Sriracha Nadella.
Now he gets it.
That just clicked
all right,
in.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, this comes in the lineage of projects like what Strider was saying: Open Morrowind, OpenRA, OpenTD, and OpenRCT2. So I don't know, man. Check it out. I mean, it's priced to sell free, as in go to GitHub, clone it. If you're an Arch user, send me an email. I'll explain to you how that works, because it's for Linux VR. But Flippity Jibbity, not Bib.io, but just
No. This is Flipfly, the guys behind Race the Sun. They're letting people vote on their prototypes because they have a lot of ideas, like they say themselves. They have a lot of ideas, and not all of them will be able to be turned into a full game. So they need your help from the community, as it were, to get their prototypes some votes and see which should be developed onto a full game. Now, this, if you played Race the Sun, you probably already know that it's a Unity game. And since they're using Unity as the engine for most of these prototypes, there are Linux builds available. You can just download the prototype, play around with it, vote for your favorite one. The first round of voting will go on for about a month, 23 or 22 days from the time of recording. And the game that makes it all the way through the voting bits will be turned into a full game. So go on over there, download the game, play around with it a little bit, and vote.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a good thing. I mean, it comes from Flippity, and he did the original Race the Sun. His Kickstarter was like 1,000 wet stinky. He pulled it off, and he fucking delivered 2 overwhelmingly positive reviews of the game. He'd sent us keys a long time ago. We just never kind of got around to playing it, like hundreds of other games we've been sent. But we're getting there. We got a back catalog, son, so don't worry about that. It's good.
Double Fine did the same thing a couple years ago, remember? They did only deliver
Double Fine, they actually have that Fortnite. Mm-hmm. That's what they call it, the Fortnite thing.
But they only delivered Windows builds. So that was disappointing.
Well, this is completely, it's not open source, but it's cross-platform, like everything else. This will be in the show notes. You can get the links, check it out. And, yeah, good on that lot.
So, Ven, say it for me once again.
Vesnov.
No, I was actually going for the Imagine a World.
That was a different game, Pedro.
Oh, that was Zero AD. Oh, dumbass. I'm sorry. Right. I get confused.
Haha, for that, now you got to read the story. Okay, I'll read the story since apparently you're not capable of that. But Vesnot 1.13.2 is out. Couple of new things. The latest release is using the SDL2. This is a good thing, sort of. Should have switched to that sooner, maybe. You never know. Brand new water animations. Better error reporting tools, and fixes for Windows users who will never play this game because of Steam. What is it, P-Man? I've actually never... Oh, is this turn-based strategy?
That's the thing. This was one of the first Linux games I ever played back in the day, like a long time ago. But this is the kind of turn-based strategy that I'm not really into. If you want me to try something turn-based, call it XCOM, basically. But yeah, it's one of the oldest projects that has actually been in development, and I mean active development. These guys have not stopped ever. And the new version is out, and there's some new things. So if you're a big Wesnot fan, this is definitely worth a look.
Have you ever played it?
I've tried it a little bit, but didn't get into it. But yeah, it's been around forever, pretty much. So I will make a Lutris and Soar for it.
All right. Well, coming up next, we have your hate mail. You like to scream in our direction. We like to scream back in yours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the hate mail. Yes, we have some Hurley hate mail this week because Jordan's not here because he has Ors answer gates. But before we get into the hate mail proper, Ven, we have some new people. Throwing some wet stinkies at us this week. Well, I guess we probably need to get off cocainevoltron.com and go to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast, where 63 fiscally irresponsible people are helping this Saturday night train wreck, because we got some goals just coming up. Yes. We didn't get a chance to change this just yet, but since they fussed around with the numbers and the way they calculate things, we're going to be changing our 150, because that's the next one coming up for Linux Gamecast weekly, daily, Wednesdays. We're going to be changing that to 145, so we're going to be hella close to that business. Yep. But, I mean, if you like what we do, you want to support us, we don't really want to have to read a bunch of ads because we'd have to kind of tone down the show. If we did, we don't really want to be like, hey, can we make that joke? No, they wouldn't support us. Right. This episode brought to you by Microsoft Surface Pro 3. But no, I mean, if you find some value in this, I know it's kind of a pain in the ass, too, because I was definitely 3,000, 9,000% there, over 9,000% there, till I realized I don't watch TV anymore, and I don't own a fixie or a flannel shirt. I do have a prop bottle of PBR, which I can't really get to right now. I'd love to pull it out. And Patreon kind of helped everything out. And there's a couple of shows that I like to watch. I like to support them. It doesn't matter. I mean, give it a nickel. Give us a nickel. I mean, what's that? 20 cents a fucking month. Not a big deal. But it's going to help us out because we can pull all that money from everybody. And we can do some new shows, more content. I mean, P-Man, we're definitely looking forward to doing our midweek show. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing. P-Man, who do we have helping us out this week again? Because I'm way too far down in the show notes.
So was I. And I'm scrolling all the way up right now. Give me a second.
Hey, Pedro, you know somebody that actually...
Max K.
Max K.
Yes, Mr. Max K and Centroids. We didn't mention him last week. But yeah, both of them are actually supporting us on the Patreon. So thank you very much. I don't know the exact values because Van and Jordan are the ones taking care of that particular business.
Well, it's not about the values. I mean, the value is anyone kicking in. I mean, Strider, you support the show, man.
Yeah,
you're awesome like that.
350.
You basically bought your own way into...
Yeah, that's a really good way to get on the show.
Yeah.
Who actually is giving us this? Like, oh, that person. Okay, that's brilliant. Like Empty and everyone else. I mean, everyone's just awesome. We're definitely going to do like a little special just to thank you guys before the holiday series is over. But let's get into this hate mail. I'm tired of being nice.
Yes. So the first hate mail comes from Robert S. And he had some qualms about our review of Raven's Cry, or Vendetta, the Curse of Raven's Cry, as the new version is called. Yeah. So he says, sorry that you all have so many complaints about this game. I, for one, love the game and do not have many problems that you are having, and I play strictly with a keyboard and mouse. Dude, Jordan's not here, but I can tell that's a fucking run-on sentence. Final rating, 4 stars or 3 chairs. You clearly do not know how the chairs work. I love it as much as Far Cry 3 or 4, Mass Effect series, Dragon Age series, DSX Human Revolution. What?
What? That's a bunch of shit that runs under Windows.
Yeah, neither of those are Linux games, but not as much as my two favorite series of all time, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Skyrim. Those are not under Linux either. Two Worlds 1 or 2, those are not under Linux either.
But it keeps on going. He's like, I would have liked a much larger and open and populated world and hundreds of more.
Much larger open. I missed that one.
Perhaps in their next installment. The game for me has huge potential, even though it was released last year as a finished product. He didn't say that, but I had to add it in. And thanks for your video review, P-. You all look great in your outfits. Yar. That reads like one of these, well, your review is kind of valid. Basically all the positive reviews on Vendetta Curse of the Raven's Cry Steam page, that's exactly what this fucking reads like. I was like, well, let's point out some. Yeah, I was like, well, there's maybe a couple of little negative things, but hopefully in the future. Okay. You notice the animals in the game as part of your release. The ones that look like they were just shoved in, they don't match anything in the game and they're horribly done. That's what, oh Lord, what is Reality Pump?
Reality Pump.
They added that and they still have not fixed. The game will lock out your keyboard and gerbil if you have a controller plugged in. Frenchie, tell me I'm insane for saying that is the stupidest fucking thing in the world.
No, not insane.
I mean, do you approve of it? Do you think that's a way a game should be? It should just lock out your keyboard if you have a keyboard? A game board, yes. Your game board plugged in?
No, well, every game managed to do it, so why don't they? I mean, yeah, there's just control issue in other games, but no, I haven't seen that sort of problems in other games, so they should get their shit together.
What do you think, Summer?
Yeah, so here's the thing. This guy's argument is that we should judge games based on their potential instead of what they actually do.
I thought we should judge them based on Windows games.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
No, but it's not even merit. He's saying that we should consider burning our arms off with a blowtorch, not because it will hurt like hell, but because of the relief we will feel when our nervous system finally breaks down. Or a more appropriate analogy would be that he's making the argument that you shouldn't judge a dog's turd based on the shit that it is. But, maybe there's a $20 bill hidden underneath it.
No, Pedro.
And
Pedro,
I say,
you are simply entitled. You should just be grateful that they made a Linux port, man. You shouldn't judge it on its quality.
Oh, no, we shouldn't judge it on its quality.
That makes you an entitled Linux person.
Completely. No, I mean, it's not like we're paying the exact same thing for the exact same product, except it's not, because it's a shittier, even more busted, because we're talking about Vendetta, the Curse of Raven's Cry here. Yeah, it's even more busted than it is under Windows.
Up next, Monster Cameron. You know him, you love him. He's great. He's talking about the SMACH Z, which he didn't know that got fucking canceled this week. But don't let that stop you. 5 hours with a 40-watt-hour battery, maybe. Mobile 1080p display uses very little power. Note that PETO's netbook uses a 40 Newton meter APU, NM, with a Bobcat cores and a Space Thing 80 shader GPU. Your APUs, clock. I measured my laptop power draw at 10 to 13 watts. Remember that it was a massive 14-inch screen, giggity, and laptop components. All in all, it's possible to get this device running for 3 to 5 hours with a 40-watt-hour battery. No, the iPad 3, 4, and Air have large 40-watt-hour batteries. It is feasible. Ow. As for Linux
Dude.
performance, that won't be as good as Windows. On Windows, I can run a lot of older games, Max Payne 2, Halo, Left 4 Dead 2, that's Left 4 Brad 2, thank you very much, Half-Life, Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse, etc., son. Oh, he just smacked us down.
Yeah, he thinks he smacked us down, but yeah, I'm going to read off a bit of what Jordan put in the show notes here. Power management on Linux isn't currently anywhere close to power management on Windows. In Jordan's experience, he actually had to do some hacks.
Dude, those
To
were
get
lead
any-
hacks, too.
Yeah, some very elite hacksaws to get anywhere near close.
Well, I have to disagree with him on this one because on my ZenBook, I just had to install a 4.2 kernel, and I was really close to Windows like performance. in
Yeah,
battery
but
life.
that's because on Windows, Intel has some special sauce going on with their drivers, but we'll get to that in a second. You see, this netbook right here, it has a 61 watt hour battery with a single core 1.2 gigahertz processor and a 1024 by 600 display. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It idles in and around 6 watts, which means in theory it should last for about 10 hours. In real use terms, I'm lucky if I get 4 hours of battery life out of it. I doubt that even with the new sauce, a 1080p displayed quad-core APU will be able to last for 5 hours on a 40 watt-hour battery. No, dude, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen, not even on idle.
I don't know, man. I got thinking about this business for a moment, and I was like, wait a minute. I have a quad-core Baytrail x86-64 tablet with a 7-inch 800p. Apparently, that's a thing. Fuck mothering display. IPS. Mad props to that little fucker. I thought it was 1080. It's a gorgeous little display on that thing. Running Windows 8 because unless I just get angry at it and I'll nerf it. I'll hit the Windows 10 update and it bricks it, but you can always reset it. But that's the thing. That little fucker has a 7,000 milliamp battery, and in sleep mode, because apparently it's too daft to cut off Wi-Fi, it will nuke the battery in 5 hours while sleeping. So, and we're talking about a similar
Intel.
envelope. So, yeah.
With an Intel chip. That's the thing. I mean, Intel, when it comes to power draw, Intel curb stomps AMD any time of the day. How do you even expect a quad-core AMD APU to draw less than...
Yeah, and I mean, that's
don't
another
know.
thing. I mean, it has the Intel integrated OpenGL graphics, and trust me, it tries to keep it clocked between 2 and 3 fuck-mothering megahertz. Frenchie, come on. Come on, seriously. Do you think they
I
could
don't
pull
have
it off?
any experience with EMD either on laptops or desktops, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the Intel power management laptop. I mean, they've done great progress, especially in the new kernels, like 4.1
We're
and
not talking about
4.2.
laptops. We're talking about a handheld device that you can carry
Yes,
around.
it's
in your-
supposed
Yeah,
to be something like a PSP.
And on that
that's
bombshell,
so
let's cue the music because you can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. This has been a fun one, guys. We somehow managed to pull it off. I'm Vin Stone, at Vin Stone on the Twitter nets, plus Vin Stone on the G pluses.
And I'm Mathieu Commando, and I'm available on Twitter, on Striker, on Google Plus, Mathieu Commando.
All right. I am Pedro Mateos. You can always find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that you should always put Sriracha on your novellas, right?
Right.
Sriracha Nutella.
Hey, Pedro.
I want me some of that right now.
Pedro.
What? Fuck you. There it was. There it was.
5 dudes.